We are back home in Newton. No more Oklahoma, but luckily the mild weather followed us up here. Maybe 50 degrees here today. Hopefully you can hear that because it just got windy. Tuesday morning, January 8th. I don't know what day it is. So for today, in for 300, out for 255, in 2 hours and 9 minutes of poker. We'll take it. All right, headed down to the Star. It is 10:58. Just getting into Wichita. Should be there in time for the game to start. Same old stuff. Regular old deal today. Howdy, Morose dudes.
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
Right, your poker vlog, is that what you're doing right now? Nick's at work. Nick's at work.
Good morning, Kathy. Good. How are you? Well, that's it for the evening. Eventually cashed out for $690. So in for 400, out for $690. $290 profit for the day in about 6 hours. It's kind of funny, the psychological barrier of dropping below a $300 win for a $290 win. It really, in the grand scheme of things, means nothing, but it's, you know, it's just a little nicer to get that $300 win. We didn't get it today. Maybe we'll get one tomorrow. Had a bit of snow overnight here in the Newton area. Still pretty cold, 24 degrees. Don't think it should affect the roads too much. All right, just after 8:30. Looking to get about 5, maybe 6 hours in, we'll see. Had to wait a little bit, so figured I might as well get a little food. Going home a loser today, in for 725, out for 199. So what is that? Negative 526 today. Woo!
Hi!
Ah! Mexican food, now poker. Ah! Mexican food, now poker. All right, 9:30. Hope we get in the game quick. Looking to play about 5 hours today. Things slow down after 2 o'clock. Let's do it. Give me a tip. I just want to make a vlog. Look at the camera. This guy's a jerk. Ended up cashing out for $961, so in for 500, out for $961 plus $461 on the day. Well, Saturday night, same old, 9:25 p.m. should be at the Star a little bit after 10 o'clock. Bit of a late start, so if we're gonna be playing 5.5, 6 hours, we're gonna be there till after 3 a.m., which I don't necessarily love doing, but we need to get some hours in, so that's what we're gonna do. Okay, we are here, and I got a little story to tell about what turned out to be a pretty dang vivid dream I had last night. So in this dream, I should preface this by saying, so there's a little old man who owes me like 300 bucks, and a buddy of mine last night here at the casino and me went and played an advantage slot and made like 115 bucks each. On the way to the slot machine, we saw the guy who owes me the money. And, you know, he was like, oh, you weren't here Friday, I had money for you. I was like, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna give him any more because I don't want him to owe me so much that he can't pay it back. Anyway, back to the story. So in this dream, I'm sitting there playing this advantage slot machine, right? But I'm by myself in the dream. And the little guy comes up to me and he hands me a pile of slot tickets. And they're like, some are like $3.19, 79 cents, yada yada yada. This is a pretty vivid dream too. It's in color, and it's like a 1 inch thick, like 100 of these things. And so I start putting them in and adding them up and whatever, and they add up to like $900. And I debate giving them back to him, like giving him the extra, and then I end up just waking up like in the middle of the debate. I like to think that I actually gave back the money. I actually woke up, it was so vivid, I woke up and I wasn't sure if it was actually what had happened or not. Anyway, it is a little after 10 o'clock, time to play some poker. Late night tonight, probably stay until past 3. Table for one, please. Just kidding. Time for a little update, and it was a quick one. Turns out, that's not a bad thing. Probably sat down in the game for 10-15 minutes before I am in the hijack. When I look down at pocket aces with 1 diamond, folds around to me. I open up to $17. The cutoff is sitting on about 300 bucks. He makes the call. The button has about 275. He calls as well. He's a bit of a bluffy guy, known to make moves. And the flop comes out Jack 10-4 with 2 diamonds. We lead out for $30. A lot of draws out there. I want to charge those. Only the button calls. The turn is an offsuit 9. This time we check it over to the button, see if he wants to try to take a stab. And he obliges. He bets 40 bucks. We make the call. The river is an offsuit 3, the 3 of spades. We see if he wants to take one more stab at it. Maybe lose a little value here, but I feel like this is a safer play against a player who may put us to a tough spot. So we check it over to him, and he checks it back. I show aces, and he shows nothing. So we're good. Not too much later, we are on the button when we look down at King of Spades, King of Diamonds, Pocket Kings. There's 1 limp to us. We bump it up to 18 bucks. Only the big blind makes the call this time. He checks dark, and the flop comes out. Jack 10-3, Diamond, Diamond, Spade. We go ahead and put the C-bet out there, 25 bucks. He pretty quickly calls. The turn is the 8 of hearts, and he checks again. We think there's a lot of value to still be had here, so we go ahead and bet $70. He thinks about it for just a bit and calls again. And the river is an offsuit 7, and this time the big blind leads out for 100 bucks. Most of the draw is still bricked. I think it's an obvious play with a brick draw, so we make the call. And our opponent shows 7-5 of clubs, and we're good. So we've crippled our opponent when the very next hand we are dealt pocket queens in the cutoff. There are 2 limps to us. We make it 18 to go. The small blind makes the call, and both limpers call as well. The flop comes Jack 7-6 with a heart and 2 spades. It goes check, check, check. We put out a bet of 40 bucks. The small blind doesn't think too long before shipping it in for $112 more. Folds back to us. We're not folding for that price to that stack. So we make the call. I say, you got a set or 2 pair or something? He says no, sheepishly turns over ace jack. Asks me if I have overs, I show him the bad news. We hold, and just like that, pretty quickly, 3 pocket pairs hold up, and we're up about 500 bucks. All right, we're back. Up and down we go. And in terms of screw-ups, this next one actually saved me money. It's kind of funny. So we are on the button with pocket 7s, 7 hearts, 7 of diamonds. There are several limbs to us. We bump it up to 20, trying to clear the field a bit. The small blind has $300 to start the hand. He makes the call. And the under the gun player with just 70 bucks also makes the call as well. Flop comes out Jack 6-4 with 2 spades, and I think that the small blind checks, and I'm waiting on the under the gun player who has 70 bucks, and I'm waiting, and I think that he checks. He looks like he wants to bet, and then looks like he checks. Well, I put out my c-bet of 40 bucks, and the other guy, the small blind, looks like he's about ready to slide in a raise of 100, and the dealer goes, "Wait, did you check?" And then the small blind goes, "No, I didn't do anything." And so he explains to him, yada yada yada. He bet out a turn. If the action doesn't change, his bet will stand. So the guy checks, and then the under the gun player with just $70 left, he puts out a bet of 20 bucks. I fold. The other guy decides to just milk him, and he calls him down on the turn, then puts them all in the river. The other guy calls. Long story short, the guy in the small blind had ace queen of spades, and he was going to check raise me on the flop, and the short stack had pocket kings. So my mistake on that one actually saved me 40 bucks. So, and next interesting hand, we are in the small blind with king jack of diamonds. There is a button straddle on. We are 500 effective with the main villain. We open up to $25. Marginal open from the small blind here. King jack of diamonds. Folds around to the button who makes the call. We're about 500 effective. Flop comes out 9-6-4 with a diamond and 2 spades. I figure I might as well put out a c-bet here. I have pretty strong range, and I can barrel on a decent number of turns. I put out the c-bet of 35 bucks. The button makes the call. The turn is an ace of spades. Unlikely he is calling, or less likely he's calling with the spade draw when the ace hits out there. I think we can check this one sometimes. We can bet this one sometimes. So this time we decide to double barrel and represent. It's a pretty scary card if he has a 1 pair type hand. We put out a bet of $75. Our opponent calls after about 15 seconds or so. And at this point, we're thinking we give up if a 4th spade doesn't come. And lo and behold, the river brings the deuce of spades. This time we put out a bet of $150, and our opponent doesn't think too long before shipping it all in. Of course, we instantly fold, and our opponent shows us the goods, king queen of spades. So triple barrel gone awry on that one. And so at this point we top up 65 bucks, and we go from up 500 to down 65. Could have played better, definitely. Questionable triple barrel, but we managed to escape with a win. Never going to complain about getting a win. So In for 365, out for 788, and a profit of $423.